My name is Isabel Ruiz. I'm a community engagement manager at Autodesk, and actually, I think I might need this. So I'm just going to. So yeah, the topic of the talk today it is the remote culture codes, how to spark belonging and build community from anywhere. So this is a quote from the 2024 Gallup State of the Global Workplace Survey. So 20% of the world's employees experience daily loneliness. Maybe with a show of hands, if you can tell me how many here work remotely. The majority. Do any of you have to go to an office or a co-working space? Just a handful. So I don't know if you can relate. I think definitely myself, I have felt that disconnection, that loneliness in the past as well, working remotely. So I will say this is not a well-being issue. This is a culture issue. And how we can actually create spaces for people to feel that they belong in a remote environment. So before we dive into the topic, I just want to tell you a little bit about me. As I said, I work for Autodesk as a community engagement manager, and I wanted actually just to have a few of the emojis that I feel that represent me, but actually I realized that there are two of them that are missing there as the dancing and yoga emoji as well. Those are very important for me. And also some of the companies that I have worked for in the past. And actually, as you can see, little me trying to capture a moment in time with an imaginary camera, and hopefully that at the end of the talk I can actually do that with all of you here. And these are, as I said, some of the companies that I have worked for in the past, and I feel like advocacy has always been at the heart of what I have done, either in customer success or now in community management. So let's get back to the topic. So the challenge that we face with remote environments, we look at how remote actually has great upsides, either flexibility or if you're a company hiring access to remote, access to global talent. But at the same time, if we look at how that can also cause disengagement as well. And actually, these opportunities as well that present having access to global talent, for example, we can also look at that culture doesn't build itself. We have to be present in how we can actually design this. And every connection point has to be intentional as well. So that is a challenge in itself when nothing is spontaneous anymore, particularly in remote environments. So to me, I will say that belonging isn't a trendy term. Of course, we do hear this in different contexts, in different conversations as well. But at the same time, I will say that we can also see this term in an onboarding document, for example. But primarily, belonging, it's a feeling where your voice matters and your presence is valued. As well, we have seen that belonging actually drives retention, innovation, and productivity. And that is great. But also, how are we actually doing that, implementing that through our words, actions, and with our systems as well. And that's how I came up with the remote culture code. Just 3 pillars as a concept: intentional design, small actions, big impact, and champion activation. So let's go into the first one. Intentional design, and now culture, it is primarily built through Slack threads, Zoom backgrounds, and virtual spaces. And in a way, we are architecting serendipity. And we have to be intentional about how do we start meetings as well, or how do we handle difficult conversations through a screen, which it can be difficult in itself. As well, when we onboard new members, how are we actually making sure that they feel that they are already part of a team? So the next pillar, small actions, big impact. For me, I will say that belonging doesn't have to be in grand gestures. It can also be in intentional micro moments, and that consistency of those micro moments as well. So I remember actually at Muse, we used to have a theme during our all hands, and we will ask people to share either, and this is one of the micro moments that I really liked as well, that we will ask people to actually share a photo of their favorite meal, or if they went for a walk, they can also share that as well, or just you name it, your pet, etc. So during the all hands, it will be like a particular theme, and they will actually share that. And then the all hands will be happening, but at the same time, you will also have these people interacting in Slack, sharing these pictures as well. So that was creating good engagement. And another micro moment as well that I really like, and maybe because it uses Loom, so I really like that tool, where you can actually invite volunteers to share in a 60-second video about either a reflection or an update, where they can actually share what inspired them that week, or what they learned during that month as well. And it is just, as I said, just a 60-second video. So champion activation. Every community has people who brings others together. And I think it's more about how we can identify those people. And also we need to celebrate them. As well, something that I would like to invite people once you identify them, it is to actually give them the space and visibility to do what they do best. And I think some examples as well of this is when you will see people that maybe when someone joins either a team or a channel, they will be the first ones either to react or just send them a message there. And as well, also something that you can see in these virtual spaces is when someone maybe just sparks a good conversation in Slack, for example. When doing the research for this topic, I figured that there's also has to be a few mindset shifts as well. And I will say that tools and platforms are incredible enablers. I think many of us either we work for one, or in my case, I work for one of them as well, and we are building with them, with these tools. But a tool alone doesn't build culture. It is how we show up in these virtual spaces that matters. As well, engagement is just attendance, and I think the majority of us here, you will work with metrics, and obviously you want to see high attendance rates, but I think it's more about participation and presence that matters. And also culture isn't built in virtual events, in this case, since we're working about remote work. It is built about in the in-between moments, in the daily interactions, when you schedule a check-in just to show people that you actually care. So just to bring it all up, belonging isn't a trendy term. It is essential, particularly when we are either if you're building a culture or scaling an existing one. Small actions lead to big results. And your champions, they are your secret superpower. So I actually, for this as well, the next slide will include a QR code, I think, yep, where I'll share some of the resources that actually spark the inspiration for this talk. And of course, I would love to connect with all of you as well. So thank you.